by Katherine Acquavella February 8, 2019 at 4:44 p.m. Eastern Time. 4 minutes read. We're less than a week away from pitchers and catchers reporting to spring training, and we've still got plenty of big names left on the board in free agency, including superstar sluggers Bryce Harper and Manny Machado. That means we've got a healthy supply of hot stove buzz in early February. To give you an idea of what's out there this Friday, we're here to round up all the notable trade and free agency rumors. As always, our free agent tracker is a great way to catch up on what's already happened on that front. Now let's jump in. Harper, Machado still seeking $300 million. View profile. There are plenty of reasons why the stove has been freezing cold for free agents, and the deadlock between the agents for Harper and Machado and suitors could be one of the main reasons. Ken Rosenthal of The Athletic is reporting that neither agent want to blink first. Here's more on the current holdout between Scott Boras, Dan Lozano and the teams interested in the superstar free agents. Harper's agent, Scott Boras, and Machado's agent, Dan Lozano, both are believed to be seeking at least $300 million. Neither wants to sign first, knowing once one of the players goes off the board, the other will benefit from gaining the sole attention of the remaining suitors. The clubs, too, prefer to stall. White Sox owner Jerry Reinsdorf, for one, would prefer to chase the market rather than set it, according to sources. That way, he could avoid a bidding war, wait until the very end to hear the number he needs to reach, then decide whether he is willing to pay. With neither player wanting to be the first to sign their contract, who knows how long they could go unsigned. Plus, the latest teams to jump into the Harper and/or Machado sweepstakes could further complicate things. Here's more from Rosenthal. Other clubs seemingly are taking the same approach. The Phillies, sitting on stupid money, figure they will get one of the two stars, knowing they can top any offer. The Padres are acting more aggressively on Machado, sources say, but to what end if they ultimately get outbid? Then there are the mystery teams. It's reasonable to assume they exist on both players. The Padres jumped in on Harper last week, the Giants this week. The more teams that get involved, the more complicated the process will be. MLB Commissioner Rob Manfred remains hopeful that baseball's biggest free agent stars are signed before position players report for spring training next weekend. According to Bob Nightingale of USA Today, Rob Manfred is hopeful that baseball's biggest free agent stars Bryce Harper, Manny Machado are signed before position players report for spring training next weekend. Obviously, we want our star players signed and ready to go when we start playing. Bob Nightingale, at B. Nightingale, February 8, 2019. How Phillies sealed Real Muto deal with Miami. View profile. After months of speculation, the Miami Marlins finally shipped all-star catcher JT Real Muto to the Philadelphia Phillies in exchange for top pitching prospect Sixto Sanchez. Big league catcher Jorge Alfaro, Class A lefty, will steward an international bonus slot, the teams announced Thursday. It was no secret that the Marlins' asking price for Real Muto was incredibly high this offseason. Miami made it clear that it was seeking at least a top prospect or promising young big leaguer with controllable years of service time, and more, in return for Real Muto. FanCred's Jon Heyman has more on why the Phillies package was enough for Miami. In the end, the other teams in on Real Muto offered one big piece but not two. The Phillies were the ones that stepped up, adding Sixto to Alfaro. And Marlins, like the third piece, will steward, too. Unlike some others, they viewed him as Phil's top righty prospect. Jon Heyman, at Jon Heyman, February 8, 2019. Most others in on Real Muto were willing to surrender one big piece but not a second big piece. Marlins sought two of May, Lux, Ruiz, and Smith from LA, after it was clear Bellinger was going nowhere, and two of Riley, Patch, and a big pitching prospect, i.e. Wright, Wilson, Anderson, from ATL. Jon Heyman, at Jon Heyman, February 8, 2019. Real Muto, with only 2 years of team control before he can become a free agent, rejected a contract extension offer from the Marlins in October, at which point Miami entered into negotiations to trade him. More from Heyman on that below. Real Muto and Marlins were about $100 million apart in contract negotiations early this winter. Marlins started at about $60 million for 5 years plus option comps for $16 million in the 3 free agent years were Martin, McCann deals, while Real Muto camp sought about Posey money. Posey deal was $167 million. John Heyman, at John Heyman, February 8, 2019. Real Muto's ask of Marlins about the Posey deal likely reflected his reluctance to stay long-term with rebuilding team and doesn't necessarily mean he'd ask exactly that of the Phillies should they try to sign him long-term. John Heyman, at John Heyman, February 8, 2019. Ken Rosenthal of The Athletic further describes the high-risk, high-reward trade. If Alfaro and Sanchez both reach their ceilings, the Phillies could lose the deal, considering they acquired Real Muto, arguably the game's best catcher, with only 2 seasons of control. The chances of both Alfaro and Sanchez hitting their full potentials, however, appear remote. The Marlins believe Sanchez is worth the gamble, understanding he needs to clean up his delivery, but viewing him as the type of power arm necessary to win championships. Their hitting people watched hours of video on Alfaro. The Phillies had made him available early in the discussions, and saw room for offensive improvement. It wasn't until the Phillies included Sanchez that the Marlins became comfortable moving forward. Despite their suggestions to the contrary, they had to trade Real Muto, had to maximize his value. Giants Zadie, interest in Harper's Mutual View profile on Wednesday. It was reported that the San Francisco Giants had joined the Bryce Harper sweepstakes. A Giants contingency that included CEO Larry Baer, President Farhan Zaidi, and manager Bruce Bochy, flew out to meet Harper earlier this week in Las Vegas. And according to Zaidi, the fact that they made a trip to meet with Harper means their interest is real. Here's more from NBC Sports Bay Area. Zaidi said there's obviously mutual interest between Harper and Giants. That was an expression of our interest level, to make a trip out there. Alex Pavlovich, at Pavlovich NBCS, February 8, 2019. Harper would provide the Giants with the power bat they've long sought after. The club hasn't made the postseason since 2016 and earlier this offseason appeared closer to entering a full-fledged rebuild instead of pursuing a superstar free agent. The only factor that could hold San Francisco back from snagging Harper is the price. The Giants did their best last season to duck under the competitive balance tax. Currently, they're projected to be more than $30 million below the threshold. It all depends on whether or not the Giants' ownership is willing to risk paying a luxury tax overage penalty. Lindor could miss opening debut profile. Cleveland Indians shortstop Francisco Lindor could miss the start of the season with a strained calf. The team announced Thursday that the 3-time All-Star will be held out for 7 to 9 weeks. More on that here. When do pitchers and catchers report? Check out the report dates for all 30 teams.